Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan. I'm your host. And today, guys, we are going to be talking about tariffs, crumbs, and how you can benefit from them, and communication, right? These are three big topics, I think, right now that we really need to go over and help you guys to understand really what's going to be in tariffs, how you can approach this, and go from there. So the thing I want to talk about in tariffs, and this is really no different than pretty much any other thing that the executive branch ends up doing, or Congress and laws and things like that, is really you got to just understand what they are and how to move through them. So I'm not saying through this to not be educated on the subject, right? And what tariffs are, or what they're going to affect, what goods they're going to affect, where they're coming from, and what your supply chain looks like in construction, right? Whether you're getting steel from Mexico, Canada, or from somewhere here in the US. And if all your suppliers are US based, then you really have not much to worry about. If their warehouses are full, or you can buy the equipment that's already been imported to the US, tariffs really aren't going to affect you much in that regards. And when we talk about tariffs or any other law that can be enacted, is yeah, we can get wound up about a tariff or a tax or a law. And really, it's just understanding it. And then how do we move forward through it? Because if we continue to be distracted by all this stuff in the news, whatever it happens to be, then we're never going to be able to move forward. If we look back at the last few years, right, 4, 5, 6 years, we had all the stuff from 2016 to 2020 with Trump and his the Russia collusion stuff, which ended up being a whole lie, but everybody was distracted by that. Then we have Biden and really his weakness as a president. Everybody was distracted by that, by COVID, by all the other stuff, and not focused down on, okay, this is the landscape that we're dealing with. These are the rules that are given. These are the rules that I'm not going to follow. These are the rules that I am going to follow. This is how I want to move forward through life and make my decisions and go accordingly. And I think that personally, like, I was very distracted from 2020, mid 2020 till frankly, probably a year and a half ago. And it didn't serve me the best in being able to move forward, make decisions, be clear headed about the things that I wanted to do and how I wanted to go through life. Right. So with this, it basically ends up being that we're letting the world dictate our terms. And we need to be clearer about the terms that we are setting in our lives, the decisions that we're making about things. And this is no different than, for tariffs today, COVID things 4 years ago, whatever that might be, is to understand the situation, make decisions about it, and then go, right? Don't continue to analyze it unless new information is presented. Make decisions and go. And it basically comes down to being distracted, to take your attention away, your energy away from you, yourself, your business, your life, and the decisions that you're making to push yourself forward. Really, one of the things that I think it gets kind of silly, especially with the tariff thing, is what do we end up talking about? 5, 10, 15%. It's probably not 50% for anything. And so long as you learned your lesson in COVID, you still have price escalation within your contracts on the construction side. And so it's handled, right? You're going to have a hard conversation about price escalation, but it's all in the news. Everybody knows it, understands it. And you just need to have those conversations accordingly. If it actually is a problem, if things are in warehouses, they're here in the US, you're not having a tariff problem, right? Because it's here, it's going to get dealt with, and you'll be able to move forward. So, again, anything that is an actual problem, deal with it, make the decision, and move forward. But what I've noticed is, more than anything, this is stealing your time. It's taking your energy. It's taking your attention away from the decisions you need to make in your own company, on your own projects. And personally, because of how busy I have been lately, you could tell that we're not like I missed a podcast last week. I've just been that busy, that much travel, doing that many projects. Right now is I've been valuing, and I shouldn't have missed the podcast, but I've been valuing my time more and more these days, which pushes me to make better decisions, be better with my time, and everything else. So, for example, there's a new $325 million casino resort that just got put up down the street from me. And as you walk through it, there is not a clock in sight, right? That place that steals your money, takes your money, and is built to extract money from people's pockets, right? That is what a casino does not have a clock anywhere in sight, right? They do not want you to know what time it is. They don't know how much of your precious time they have taken, right? That is what they are built to do. So be very aware of your time, be very aware of what's going on, what's happening, because time is really the thing that nobody can give you back, and it always gets taken from you. So be very aware of your time and distractions and things that take you away from your goals. So whether it's tariffs, labor agreements, supply chain problems, anything that comes up in the news or whatever, like understand the problem, understand the situation. Does it apply to you? Yes, no, make a decision. I'm just tired of hearing like complaining about problems and not actually creating solutions. So let's continue to create solutions. Let's continue to push forward. Let's continue to solve these problems. So that's tariffs, right? And the big thing there is, again, it's just another thing to talk about and distract you from your objectives and your goals. Now let's talk about some crumbs. So there's consolidation all over the A&E industry. Stantec just bought Page. Quanta Services bought like Miller Electric, right? Big consolidations that are happening within the construction industry on both sides, right? On the architecture and engineering side, on the construction side, huge acquisitions. And for some firms, they might be a little worried about these big guys getting bigger, working on bigger projects. And I think that's really where they're going to, and they really need the workforce. They need those people to work on these mega projects, right? 1-2 million square foot hospitals, right? $1 billion hospital projects, $1 billion this, $1 billion that, right? These massive projects, and both on the construction side in labor force out there, as well as on the engineering side in labor force to put drawings together to design these things is really a huge necessity. And they need huge amounts of people to work on these projects, to get them out, to do all the things that they're doing to make these projects a success. So it's super important that we understand that these big firms are going after big projects and have big overheads. So there's a little analogy that I want to make, and that's from the movie War Dogs. If you've ever seen the movie War Dogs, it's with Jonah Hill and Miles Teller, and they end up becoming these young guys becoming like gun dealers, right? It's very well done movie, I must say. But in the defense industry, it's no different, right? These big guys have big overheads, and they only go after big contracts. So they talked about in the movie crumbs, right? That these little bits of breadcrumbs left are actually like full meals and dinner for like a year for these small guys, right? With low overhead, little, they just don't have any expenses, right? They don't have all these people to employ, none of that stuff. So they're able to go after these smaller, quote unquote, projects, you know, 1, 2, 3, 5, $10 million projects, because nobody else is wanting to touch them, right? It takes too much to even put a proposal together to go after these projects, let alone execute on them. So they're only going to go after the big contracts because that's what they're built to do. So this basically is no different for us, you know, small guys, is being able to go after these smaller contracts to provide this level of service that they need. Because again, those big guys they have huge overhead. You know, they're probably not going to go after anything less than like maybe 250 million, 100 million, right? That's anything smaller than that. It's just not worth it for them to go after, because again, they have huge overheads. And so the next thing is really that your personality, your conversations, your communication with these clients is super important. So as we look through this, right, you have those crumbs, that you can feed on for a lifetime that those big guys just are never going to touch. There's so much opportunity in the market. And I think we need to remember that and understand, even with these big mergers and consolidations, that there's still a ton of opportunity within the market. And lastly, and this is for everybody at all levels, is answer your phone. I can't tell you how many opportunities that we've been able to work on, how many projects we've been able to get just because we picked up the phone, we responded to emails, we got back to people in a timely manner. Like that is really one of my core values, right? Is like getting back to people, doing the right thing and telling them, what's up. And here, with vertical design services, we turn projects quickly, and that's for two reasons really. Is we keep the pace high, right? We keep moving, we keep projects moving. It keeps people focused. It keeps, head downs. And when you're more focused, you get more done. But that pace is not for everybody, right? It is a hard pace to maintain over a long period of time. And, we find breaks and ebbs and flows within that to, keep sanity for everybody. But at the same time, like we are running and, that's just, we get projects done, we turn them faster, and that keeps clients happy, right? So because clients are happy because they get their projects back quickly, they can do what they need to do with it, right? Being on the design side, there's so much downstream from us that if there's a delay on our end, it cascades all the way down the chain. So making sure that our projects are delivered on time or even faster is, of the utmost importance to make sure that we really push forward and do what we need to do here. So it's a really simple loop, right? Answer your phone, do good work, communicate, where you're at in the process, and win more projects. It's really simple. So to recap, this podcast episode is control what you can control, right? You're not going to be able to control tariffs. Only the president does that. So, good luck, no matter who the president is, right? That is something that is out of your control. Play in the markets, the sectors, the areas that where you have a distinct advantage. Find that for yourself. There's a book called Blue Ocean Strategy that I recommend you read. And it's all about finding those blue oceans in those areas that you can compete in, that you really have a distinct advantage. And don't let those big boys intimidate you, right? Those companies of massive size and scope, they're all just run by people. So at the end of the day, we all have our strengths, and find yours and continue to push after that. And then lastly, communicate well, right? Get back to people in a timely manner, do things in a timely manner. Granted, be thorough, do good work, do the best you can, and answer those emails, return those phone calls, and be the go-to guy for all of your clients. At the end of the day, your clients will thank you, your projects will thank you. And again, just keep that pace high, keep those advantages in your favor, and you will continue to win projects, no matter if you're going against billion-dollar firms or, the guy down the street. So continue, guys, to do good work. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. And until next time.